Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Carlos from the Ortiz Outtakes. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be discussing a movie called Never Let Go, and that's a movie starring Halle Berry. It did come out this year, 2024, and it's classified as a horror movie. However, I tend to classify it as a psychological thriller. And we're going to be discussing that today. So if you have not seen it, just please go ahead and put it on pause or log off and go ahead and go and watch it before you listen or watch this review. So yes, it's heavy spoilers, okay? So anyway, the movie stars, as I mentioned, Halle Berry and two young kids called Percy Daggs the Fourth and Anthony B. Jenkins. They're about 10, 11 years old. They do pretty good acting. The acting in this movie is pretty good, considering it's a very small cast of three. The others are very minor because they're all like ghosts and what have you.
Go get him, Carter. Bring us a big fat rabbit.
Y'all ready?
Never let go. Never let go.
The movie it starts off in which Mama and the boys, they're in this cabin deep in the woods, and it's in the forest. They never mention where it is, but it's a very thick forest, and they do show it from above, and they show the cabin, and there's really nothing around for miles. So one day, while foraging in the woods, they also, I have to mention that they're tied up with a big heavy rope. So these ropes, 3 ropes, one for each of them, they're very, very long, and if you stretch them out while they walk through the forest foraging, it could be a lot of yards. So one day while doing this, one of the kids encounters issue in which he becomes separated from the rope, and Halle Berry panics and runs over to where the boy is and sees one of the entities trying to get him. The boys never see the entities that she sees. So this is something that later on that one of the kids start to doubt that, this is really a true thing that's happening to them, and that they're the only survivors. So you start to think yourself as the audience, is this a mental breakdown that Halle Berry had, or is this something, else, maybe paranormal or what have you. So as the movie continues, it's further discovered that she had killed her parents, and she also killed her husband because of this supposed evil. And she thinks, as I mentioned, that the evil had taken over the world, and that it was gonna be coming for them as well.
And patient. It's like the snake you've seen in the woods. Evil can wear many skins. And the greatest trick of all is playing on you boys. And when enough time goes by, you gon' forget it's even there. Gonna let your guard down. And it's gonna hit you. One touch without a robe on is all it takes to possess one of us and get inside the house. Never let go.
So later on during the movie, and after the doubts just continue to drop here and there by one of the boys, one of the boys that's the doubter, he actually cuts her rope and locks her into one of the sheds. So this shed, it has like a bunch of windows and what have you, so I don't understand how she didn't get out like super fast, but by breaking the window. because the kid was steadfast by telling her. He was like, I'm not going to open the door. You have to see that nothing's going to happen, you know? And that being said, she started to see an entity of her own mother. And the mother was telling her, hey, I'm going to get you. Apparently the mother, when she was growing up, it's implied that she was like an abuser. Like she would abuse Halle Berry when she was a child. So that was part of the threat that she was telling Halle Berry, and that she turned around and she picked up a piece of glass that she had broke from one of the windows, and she slit her own throat. So she did that to protect the children, because it's the entity was saying, I'm going to kill your whole family. And after she had killed herself, the boys came in, and the little boy that locked her in initially, he started feeling regret, and he might have thought that's he did the wrong thing and what have you, and the other little kid, his name is Sam. He stayed with her until the nighttime and what have you. So there was a point in which in the movie that I didn't mention their dogs. The dog's name was Coda. And Coda looked pretty healthy, compared to the rest of them, for them not to have food.
Go get him, Coda. Bring us a big fat rabbit.
But I digress, Anyway, Halle Berry, the reason that Nolan locked her into the shed was that she was going to kill the dogs so this way they could have something to eat. Because up until that point, they was not eating very well. They had experienced a very harsh winter, and that they were even eating tree bark. Now you can eat tree bark, but you can get sick, So obviously you can't do that for too long, and it's not healthy. So it does provide some sorts of nutrients and what have you, but it's totally not enough. They've been eating crickets and frogs and squirrels up until that point. So she had made the decision that they were going to go ahead and eat the dogs. When Nolan found out that that's what's going to occur, he went out to the shed where Mama was at with the dog and locked her in there and cut off her rope. So Nolan ties up all the ropes together, and he decides to go as far as he can to go and search for help. So he goes a very long distance through all the property, and he eventually reaches an asphalt road. He yells out for help. So nobody answers, and he eventually comes back home. But when he's going back up the stairs, a hiker just appears out of the woods and says, hey, I heard somebody yelling for help, and he starts to try to talk to Nolan, and Nolan is tripping because, he's never seen anybody before, in his life. So when he sees this guy, he automatically thinks that he's a demon or something like that. He hesitates before he eventually starts to try to talk to the hiker. But then right when he starts to try to talk to the hiker, that's when Sam comes out with a crossbow, and he shoots the hiker. So the hiker gets away down the path and eventually passes out from his injuries. But Nolan was telling Sam not to do that the whole time, but he did it. He went actually chasing after the guy because the hiker said that he had food. So when he gets up to the guy's laying on the ground. He's about to die, but he has a cell phone in his hands. And he was calling 911, and you could hear the operator on the line before he passes away. Nolan takes his backpack from him because he said he had food. So he brought all of that backpack and all the food back to the cabin, and both boys ate the food after a little bit of convincing from Nolan to Sam. So Sam, after he finishes eating, he goes outside on the porch with a flashlight, and he thinks he sees something, and he goes out to the shed where his mom had passed away. And when he gets there, he sees a little girl. So the little girl says that she's the hiker's daughter and that she's looking for him. So she notices that he has the flashlight that belonged to her father, and she runs away because she thinks, and she sees also the body that's inside of the shed, not knowing that that's not her father. But she runs away into the woods, and Sam says, hey, wait a minute. He goes chase her into the woods. So when he chases her into the woods, yeah, of course, the rope gets tangled throughout all the trees, and he winds up untying himself. So when he's out there looking for the little girl disappears, but eventually he sees something in the distance, and it's behind a tree, and it looks like some hands. And it's not just two hands, it's like a series of hands, like centipede from the back of the tree. And he's tripping out. So then eventually the entity enters Sam. He goes in his mouth, and it just possesses him. So at this point, Nolan is noticing that Sam is gone, so he's actually in the woods too, trying to look for his brother. And when he's looking for his brother, Sam turns up and actually cuts Nolan's rope. And then when that happened, Nolan run back up into the house and saw that Sam was already up in their bedroom. And apparently the spirit or the evil had gotten into Sam. He tried to attack Nolan. So because Nolan had gotten away from him, Sam decided to go ahead and burn down the house. So he burnt down the house, and he stood outside waiting for him outside, so this way he could go ahead and get him, when he's leaving the burning house. So while he's outside waiting for his brother, he takes this Polaroid that was foreshadowed earlier on in the movie, a Polaroid camera, and took a picture of himself. And he put the camera down, and then they go back to what Nolan is doing. He's running away from his mom's spirit, and he jumps into the little cubby that they had in the living room, inside this hole in the living room floor. And when he does that, he grabs a hold of the spirit or the entity, and when he's in there, the entity turns into a snake type of person, like a evil, like a serpent person. After they were tussling a little bit, he said, Mom, I love you. And then the entity kind of like disappeared. So the house burnt down, and the next thing you know, the scene goes black, and then EMTs was there to save him. And they put him in a helicopter, and they're floating up above the fire. And he asked where's his brother, and his brother was right alongside him. And as they go in the air, you can see the city or town in the distance, and it looks like it was all a lie, like it was all in the imagination of the mom, and she was like she was just a psychopath. However, they did flash back to the picture that Sam took with the Polaroid, and they showed on the selfie that he took that there was a hand that was placed on his shoulder, and the hand looked like it was a hand like of a lizard or a snake, not like snakes have hands, but it was like a reptilian hand on his shoulder. And that's kind of like where the movie ended. The director left this movie up for the audience's interpretations. When I first saw the movie, I initially thought that it was not good, but it could have been better. It could have been better. The runtime could have been maybe about 10 minutes shorter. And also, there could have been a little bit more scary. It could have been a little bit more scary. That's why I just could say that it's a psychological thriller rather than a horror. Although there was a few jump scares that was legit, you know what I'm saying? It was okay. So there's a lot of questions that I left the theater, you know, asking. And the first one is was it a mental health break that Halle Berry's character had? Or was it evil? Was it legitimately supernatural, you know, type of evil that existed? That's one of the questions. And then the other question was the hiker. Was the hiker real? Was the little girl real? So I tend to think that the hiker was real because of the fact that when the kids stole his food, they actually were eating real food, you know, out of the can. They had like chili and, you know, something like that. Was the girl real? So I don't think that the girl was real. When she appeared earlier in the movie, when Nolan had stolen the backpack, when he emptied the backpack's contents on the table, he had a wallet. And on the wallet, it had a picture of the dad and the girl. So then now you're thinking, okay, well, no, she was real. The only thing is that the picture, the girl had the same clothes as what she had on when Sam saw her outside at nighttime. So that was kind of iffy right there because like, okay, well, this is a picture that the guy got in his wallet and it's not like taken on the same day. So that was weird. And then they never showed her again after Sam was chasing her in the woods and she disappeared. And then all of a sudden, those hands came out behind that tree. So they never showed her again. So in my opinion, she was not real and that she was some sort of demon. So the other question that people had and that I had was, what was the deal with the ropes? So the ropes and why was, you know, the safe zone was the cabin, you know, and you had and the ropes. So my opinion is that her parents were very religious and the father had blessed the house, you know, and by him blessing the house, I guess it made that a safe zone for the family. I guess before Halle Berry killed them, right? So yeah, that's pretty much. But all in all, I thought the movie was decent. It could have been better. It just has a little bit long of a runtime. I don't know if they left it open at the end for it to be a second part to it, or they just left it open, kind of just like for the audience to think. But all in all, I give it a 7 out of 10. All right, guys. So if you like what you heard, if you want to discuss a little bit more, just feel free to put your in the comment section, and we could go ahead and discuss it. I wouldn't mind talking about it. Like I said, it was pretty interesting, and I wouldn't mind talking about it a little bit more. So just go ahead and put your comments down in the comment section, and please like and subscribe. We still have our goal of reaching 500 subscribers, and we're inching, but I'm patient. We're gonna go ahead and do this, guys. And with your help, if you go ahead and share, we do appreciate any help that we can get. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you the next time. All right, guys.